In a world full of somewheres with somebodies, sometimes it's nice to just sit back, relax, and journey to nowhere with Cardboard Command.
Yeah, I had the same thing.
All right, we're learning. Welcome everyone to today's podcast episode. We have some awesome stuff on the stack for you today. We're going to talk about our least and most favorite artifacts. So we left a little bit, we left it a little open-ended there. So we'll see what happens. And then we're going to move into talking about the rules change to when commanders die in the game.
When commanders die.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace, yo. Rest in peace, commanders.
Commanders die. So there's a rules change there from the rules committee, which is great. With that, that's what's on the stack. So let's resolve.
Is it when or
stuff.
if commanders die?
Ooh, we'll talk about that later. Right now, we're talking about our least and most favorite artifacts. What do we want to start with? Do we want to start with most favorite artifacts?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's the way she got to go.
Give me the
Definitely.
good news, then give
Are
me
we?
the
We're
bad news.
gonna,
Yeah. The old
Bad news
feedback
first.
sandwich.
the old bad news bears. Who wants to be the first? Wait, hold on. Sorry, we're doing least favorite first.
No, most favorite.
Most favorite, absolutely.
Most favorite. Oh my gosh, so confusing in my mind.
Right, two options.
So
Very-
should we roll?
very confusing. Yeah.
I wasn't listening, and I had a
John, you're the
50-50
MC
chance
of this
getting it right.
situation, and it's a disaster so far.
Next time we're gonna have somebody different doing this.
Thank
Somebody
God,
should be
yes.
fired.
Okay,
Somebody
but you know what? Like, hang on. We can't. I mean, how could he hear you over that shirt? I mean, look at that banana shirt.
Banana.
That is
Do,
amazing. For anybody who's just
Banana.
listening and can't see, he's
Banana.
wearing a phenomenal banana t-shirt right now. I'm actually super jealous. When you got a sec, if you're, like I said, if you're just on Spotify or something, check it out quick on YouTube. This man, he comes dressed for a podcast.
Dress
Very
correct,
impressed.
man.
You know
100%.
what? This was I was like, when I was living in the UK, I was pretending I was gonna like buy this shirt. I was like, oh yeah, I was shopping with my buddies. I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally gonna buy it. It's like, actually, I don't want to spend the money on it, and they secretly bought the shirt for me so that I would have to wear it when we went out next. And I did, and it was
That was the deal, right?
That's fantastic.
got about the same reception. Like, people didn't say anything, and then we got to it.
Hey man,
Oh,
I
that's
feel it.
amazing.
the banana is
you guys-
just the top symbol of life.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I like to think of that. That's kind of like my strategy for playing Magic. Like, everyone's like, go apple, go orange, and I go banana. Simpsons reference.
So it just means that you lose constantly. It's like,
Yeah.
which is a shame because banana's such a great fruit, but you're just terrible at Magic. So it's like, oh,
Banana could win, but it doesn't really have the win con built
No.
into its shape.
it always slips up.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
All right. Enough. We've
On that
Listen.
note,
enough
Yo.
going bananas. Let's move back to it. So we're
Hey.
talking about our most favorite artifacts. You guys want to roll for turn order? No.
Can we
I'm just
roll?
kidding. Let's do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's
Shout
do
out
it
to Into the
in,
99 podcast, hanging out in chat. Good to see you.
Yo
What
yo.
up, play?
oh, nice. More fellow
guy, Toby.
Canadian MTG content.
Yeah.
What's up,
Ob-
guys?
Obviously,
Love it.
we
Thanks
see
for dropping
Toby
by.
there.
As
Our
per
man.
always.
Sweet.
Awesome.
We're gonna try something a little different today with the shout outs on Twitch. So we are gonna try and answer your questions or and incorporate your comments into the show today. But we're gonna kind of steer away from that kind of like welcome. It's hard to do on a podcast.
Mhm.
But yeah, totally, like, get interactive. It's interactive podcast. Let's do this thing.
Let's do this.
Okay, so our most favorite artifacts. I think we're gonna get started with Colin.
Right?
Yeah,
Because
he looks
number
pretty
one,
Most favorite
excited.
artifact.
Number
He was
one.
He
really
looks pretty
excited.
excited.
right? I'm wearing an English shirt as well. That's a Leicester
Mm.
City FC jersey. No big deal. John, no big deal. Not trying to one up you or anything, but it's all good.
What
Okay.
does that have to do with artifacts?
You wouldn't understand. You would
that's
not
why
understand.
I asked.
Exactly.
Because I don't
Superior English
understand.
shirt.
Moving past it. Okay, so number one. Okay, now I'm gonna do it this way. I feel like we're all gonna present this completely differently, and I will present it the way that I feel is best. So number one, I'm gonna shout out an honorable mention to my probably it's kind of a boring one. You know, it's a mana rock, but it is the best of mana rocks. It's the best of all of us.
You better not have picked Soul Ring.
No. You can't pick Soul Ring.
Okay, good.
Right?
I was like,
But Chromatic Lantern, that is the best mana rock in the game, because I love my 5-color decks and I need my mana correcting. And that one not only taps for mana, but it corrects my lands.
And fixes it.
Fixes them. And that's boring. But
Does that mean you have beef with Mitch? I think he called that one out.
Did he say it's terrible?
I don't think he said it's terrible. I think he says it's overused.
He hates three to spend mana rocks. He's all about
course.
2s.
Of course.
But I don't agree.
It's got two different uses, right? It taps, so it's not great as a 3 cast, drop to pay for mana, but it corrects your lands. And in 5-color decks, that is a lifesaver every time. Okay, let's move to the big fish, okay? The Leviathan, the Kraken in the sea. This is my favorite artifact, and every time I get it, in fact, I search for it constantly. It's Bolas' Citadel. Boom! The legendary, the greatest artifact on the planet, without question. That wins games every game. Boom.
40% of the time, it works every time. It's basically the Sex Panther of artifacts.
It's literally the Sex Panther. 70% of the time, it wins the games every time. Boom.
Into the 99 podcast says that you're incorrect. It is Soul Ring number 1, of course.
Soul Ring is a stupid card for stupid people, and the problem with it is that it's
shots fired.
Okay, and these are
shots.
Shots have been fired. Here's why it's so stupid. Is because no matter how many times they print it, it's still $5. I need it in every deck, and it just pisses me off. Okay, like
wait, so it's stupid, and that's why you play it in every single deck.
That's exactly why. Because
is it raining salt? I feel like it's raining salt.
It's raining salt, and it's raining. Making sense.
Yeah.
So. Sure, Soul Ring is probably the best artifact. Every time you get it, you're like, yay, I've got it. But I don't know. If you get Bolas' Citadel in your opening hand, it's great. If you get Bolas' Citadel in 10, 11, 12 turns down the line, it's awesome.
If you're playing white and it's mono and you put a Bolas' Citadel in there, good for you.
Somehow you've just done the amazing thing that I wish I could do. But,
I have lost countless times to that card.
Yeah.
Like it just, every time it hits the field, my inside, I freak out a bit, and then whoever played it, which half the time is you, just start dropping cards.
Yeah,
because you're like, I'm gonna pay all the life I got. I'm gonna win on this turn. So you're just you go down to 2 life, and you just have you need a second play mat because your board is just covered with
covered in garbage. Like in my life game deck, I'm like, I already have 50 life or 60 life, and I'm like, I'm just gonna cheeky double my own life total to 120, and then people are like, what's the point? You're never gonna die to that. And I'm just like, Bolas' Citadel, boom. Then I talk.
I've actually won Commander games using the other ability on Bolas' Citadel.
Never. They
sacrifice 10 permanents, they lose 10 life, or all the opponents lose 10 life.
See, that's a big move.
As a big maneuver.
Yeah.
It's a big boy play for sure.
Yeah, and see, that's funny. Sorry, go ahead, John.
That's the only true way to use Bolas' Citadel.
Whatever, buddy.
Okay. I shook my head.
What? No.
So I think, guys, we have to tell our audience, though, because not everyone's watching. Tell our audience about Bolas' Citadel if they don't know, if they haven't heard the word. Bolas' Citadel is to cast it is an artifact, and to cast it is 3 generic and 3 generic and 3 black mana.
Okay, don't mess up. I'm watching it.
Okay, you can look at the top card of your library at any time.
Yeah.
You may cast cards from the top of your library with if you pay life for their converted mana cost, equal to their converted mana cost, essentially. Right. So if you have a sorcery that costs 5 and a black mana, then you would pay 6 life to cast that. So of course the weakness is the life. If they're not at a high enough life and you're able to start attacking that life, you can start to mitigate the effects of Bolas' Citadel. But it is very powerful the turn it comes down, and if they have the life to use and get the right cards, it can be just devastating for your opponents.
But
Absolutely.
John, what do I do if it's a suspend card with no CMC?
I believe you just cast it without paying any life.
Yeah, nice.
Hey, I got it. I passed the test.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so Colin, how'd he do?
He did pretty good. You know what I mean? You know, a couple mistakes here and there, but nothing you can't handle. Fix and post.
I have been on the receiving end. Well, we'll talk more about Bolas' Citadel later.
It's just a classic, and it's great. I love it so much.
Yeah.
In post, we're just going to add more bananas.
Yeah. Banana.
Nice.
Yeah. He fixed it.
Just get covered in bananas.
I can do it, man.
Yep.
I can do it.
Oh yeah, you need like a big banana hat.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And that's it.
Those
I
are the
feel like I'll
best.
pass the torch on that. I think it's self-explanatory. Life is but a resource to be used and exploited. And Bolas' Citadel does it the best.
Mhm.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah,
trying to remember
that I'd
the
agree with.
text. It's a really never mind. We'll come back to it later. Anyway, so who wants to go next? Whose favorite artifact are we going to talk about?
Ooh, you know what?
All right.
I'll
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in next. And of course, okay, so all right, here's the deal. It's favorite artifacts. Like, there are so many. Like, artifacts are amazing.
Why don't you just choose two like
see-
Colin did?
Well, you see, I can't. I chose 4.
Just
And
4. Oh
I
my
did.
God.
I didn't know how.
What?
Hey,
All right,
I'm
folks.
not gonna go through all 4. I just
Welcome
brought
to an
them just in
extended
case.
edition.
I came prepared. So, you know what? You know what I'm gonna pick for today? Because really, it's like there's a pool of favorites. But what I'm gonna mention for a favorite, and it's a new one, which I haven't even bought yet, which is the Ozolith. This
Mm.
card is awesome. It is crazy.
They
And
should call it the Awesome Lith.
A's men's.
Well,
A's men's.
hey, you heard it here first. We are now. It officially is from this point on. But like, why? So like, and why I love the Awesome Lith personally, is because it really works with 2 deck mechanics that I've got and that I play, and that's why I'm so excited to use it. Because the one is, for me, the counters I focus on 1+1 counters and building creatures. So what I love about it is, first is for in my Crash deck, Crash the Blood Braided, how I've kind of built that deck, in case anybody didn't see it when I played it on our Twitch stream with the Canada Geeks a couple of weeks ago. How I've built it is, because he gets so big so fast with all those creature death triggers, I'm like, well, why attack when I can just fling him, right? But then having to replay him again, build counters again, it takes a bit of time. Ozolith, problem solved. I build up Crash, he's got a stack of counters on him, and plus, he's also a big target, so people, or any creature with a lot of one-on-one counters, they're gonna target it anyway.
Every time.
So, right? So then, when he dies, or I fling him, somebody Path to Exiles him, whatever, all those counters are going on the Ozolith. The work's done, and it's staying on my field in play. So if I've got a ton of counters, then I can put him on like a stupid Saproling or something, and then fling that. It's like, when you got enough of them, who cares? Put him on whatever. It's so powerful. And I love the fact that because it can take a bit of momentum and energy to get a big stack of 1/1 counters sometimes. That keeps that momentum going. You don't lose any speed, and you've got that as a constant threat to then be putting back on other creatures. And I just think it is super powerful, and I cannot wait to start playing it. So that for today will be my number 1 pick.
Awesome. And so this is just when creatures die, I believe, the Ozolith. So yeah, any +1/+1 counters, phenomenal. We were talking about Hepatra.
It's in my
Those
Hepatra
-1/-1 counters.
Yeah.
Right? You want to put them onto your own creatures anyway. Some in a lot of cases with a Hepatra deck. Hepatra gets benefits from putting -1/-1 counters on things.
Yeah.
But then you can actually start to, once you have enough of them accumulate, you can start to move them onto other creatures that your opponents control. So you can start to use it as removal, as well as getting some of those triggers from putting -1/-1 counters on things, as well as, just so essentially you're just kind of spreading a nice wide ball of -1/-1 counters.
Would love to see what that looks like in real life.
A ball
Like,
of
what does a
-1/-1
physical
counters.
ball of -1/-1 counters look like? Just a empty blackness, like a dark hole.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just imagining like a ton of them. Like, when you copy and paste something like a gajillion times, it's all stacked. It's like that, and they're all meshed together, kind of in like those old tumbleweeds that roll across the old town square in old Western movies.
Yeah.
So it's just like that of all -1/-1, just like bloop, 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 like rolling, and like occasional little tokens fall off and are left on the street.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
my
just keeps
Hepatro
going.
deck. Basically, like a tumbleweed of -1 counters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's big talk about Ozolith in our group, and
Oof.
there are all kinds of like with the addition of all of these new counters. If you want to put a death touch counter on your creature and you can keep it around for another creature, that's awesome. That's really amazing. So this card is really great, and I think will probably go up in price. I don't know. It's a really good
It's
card.
very
yeah.
unique, so I'm guessing.
I would think so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't think it will at first. I think we will see a slump at some point, but give it some years. I mean, turn a planeswalker into a creature and watch what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, like a Gideon type thing.
Oh, and then do those move?
If you can make your
If it dies as a creature.
if it dies as a creature,
Oh my
and then
God.
the thing is, there are some cards that you can use to then, like, when a creature comes in, you could put the loyalty counters on the creature, which doesn't seem to make sense at first. But there are some creatures that copy abilities in graveyards that could you can make the creature use loyalty abilities. There's really weird stuff. You could also move them from that creature back onto a planeswalker. There's a lot of weird stuff you can do with it.
That's some
And are there-
fun.
Is that
That's
viable
some jank.
for creatures that turn into planeswalkers, or do they leave the battlefield?
Is it it is if the issue is you can't like move them onto them because they'll enter as a planeswalker. But if they
No,
die
other way around.
Yeah, the other way around. If they die as a creature, you can move them off them.
No, I'm talking about if you already have loyalty counters on the Ozolith, and then you cast one of those creatures that can turn into a planeswalker. When you turn the creature into a planeswalker, like
Yeah.
there's like Jaces and Chandras
Flippy
and stuff
people.
like that.
Um,
So I don't know if they flip or if they leave the battlefield, so it wouldn't work.
Yeah, the big one
Anyway,
that people
for
go
another
back
time.
to is like decks with experimental crash, and I think it's necrotic ooze. I forget the one I'm thinking of where it gets all the abilities of the graveyard stuff. There's weird stuff you can do where you
Yeah.
can, if you get like a +1/+1 counter on a planeswalker, there's weird stuff you can do to move those abilities onto a creature and then just infinitely use them and stuff. But there is an opportunity, I think, and I think that'll open up down the line to mess around with loyalty counters there. I just don't see the entire picture yet, but I think it's there.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yet
no,
to
Yeah,
I
nice.
feel that.
I like that pick.
Yeah.
It's a very unique card right now, so that's awesome.
Right? And so quick too, because of course I should have led with it. I also totally got that backwards. I want to read it, right? So we can just so you can kind of hear and think about the facts with it all, right?
Yeah, I think we're probably good. We talked about all the things it can do.
Well,
Do you really want to read it?
the last thing I just want to mention is that so it's not even whenever a creature dies. Whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield.
Nice.
Good point.
So bounce, flicker, if people path to exile, unsummon, anything, I'm still getting all those counters.
Oh, that's so
That's an important
good.
difference.
That's a very
Such a good
important
card.
thing
That
That's
is.
a
to mention.
Good.
So
I approve of this pick.
right? So yeah, totally.
That
So that's the
bounce.
one.
Jeez.
Okay. You know
Right?
what, Lucas? You just solved it for me. That did it. All right. Mike and
You're
Synth Lattice.
welcome.
Yeah. Mike and Synth Lattice, March of the Machines. Boom. All your artifacts are now creatures, and everything's an artifact on the field. So you blink a planeswalker, it leaves, you move all of the counters onto the Ozolith. It comes back in.
Whenever a creature you control.
So it
if
is a
it's
creature.
planeswalker and
No,
leaves, it won't work.
Yeah. So
It has
that's
to
the
be
trick.
creature specific.
Dude, Yeah, that's the trick.
Oh,
You
'cause they're
made
all
it into an
creatures in
artifact
addition.
and then made it into an
Oh,
artifact
no.
creature, blink it, all of them move off, it comes back in, all of them move back on, you just doubled its counters.
That is too funny.
March of the Machines. That's a 6 to cast enchantment, right? In blue?
Mycosynth
the one I'm
Lattice is
thinking
a
of?
6 to cast enchantment, makes everything cost
No,
colorless.
not Mycosynth.
March
of
of
the
the
Machines.
Machine? I cannot recall off the top of my head.
Anyway, check it out, folks. March of the Machines, Mycosynth Lattice. Mycosynth Lattice has come down a lot since, well, not down from its heights, but it's still not back down. Like I got mine for $6, and then it was very soon $80.
March of the Machines,
crazy.
4 to cast blue enchantment.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Cool.
blue garbage. Yep.
Nice.
Fair enough.
You know what?
Nice work there, Spencer.
I think I'm putting
You've
this
earned-
in Pramicon.
You've earned a turn at the table, Spencer. What's your favorite artifact?
All right. Well, I'm going to take a line from Colin here. And if we're going to talk about mana rocks as well, I want to shout out I'd even say Forticast mana rocks are good. If you're playing casual Magic, get up there. It'll do wonders if your commander costs more. Firemind Vessel is great in 5-color decks. But I did notice in chat, Toby mentioned Joda and no need for mana rocks. I will challenge you, sir, on that by mentioning Forticast Crystalline Crawler has Converge, so it comes out with +1/+1s equal to the mana spent on it. It also is a 1/1 that has the ability to tap and add another +1/+1 counter to itself. And its main use is its second ability, though. Remove a +1/+1 counter to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Amazingly useful for Joda. For really any 5-color deck, go nuts. Also works with Ozolith really well. But as for favorite artifact, it took me a while to think about it, and I don't play this enough, but it is definitely my favorite. Everybody kind of likes it. Nobody really focuses on it. Liquid Metal Coating. 2 to cast. You tap it. Target permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other types until end of turn. Very, very cool ability. There's a lot of interesting things you can do by switching an enchantment or adding the ability to make an enchantment also an artifact, to make a creature an artifact, a land an artifact. Tons of interesting combos. And I think that is a fantastic card that is worth a little more love than people give it, even though everyone kind of likes it.
Is that what color is that?
Cool.
Sorry, or is it just colorless?
It's
It's an
a
artifact.
colorless 2 to cast artifact.
Yeah, because I was thinking for removal purposes, when you struggle to remove enchantments in red or whatever, you can make it an artifact and boop, remove it for 2. So remove it for 4. That's cheaper than 7.
If you ever want someone to hate you, turn their forest into an artifact and splinter them.
Oh, and then just kill all.
Do you guys
would-
remember my Neheb the Dreadhorde champion deck?
Oh, yeah.
Where I just put a ton of artifacts into my graveyard until I found Scrap Mastery them out, and then I'd have like Mycosynth Lattice and was it Treasure Nabber? So I'd steal your lands whenever you tap them. I don't
That's
think I ever
actually-
successfully did it, but,
God.
because people would shut it down so fast. They get so angry when you're going to
Oh, yeah.
steal their artifact land that you made their land that you made into an artifact. Oh, so good. Oh,
That's some John.
I should bring that back for an
some John
episode.
stuff.
That's so good.
I was hoping you
So
would,
good.
right? That versus Torbrand.
I got rid of my Mycosynth Lattice because I was poor, and I was like, well, I could get like a deck for this.
Yeah, jeez.
Man, that's
Yeah.
cool. Well, great pick, Spencer. That's very neat. That's a cool
Fantastic,
take, my man. Yeah, totally.
I think
Liquid Metal
it's
Coating.
really good. I mean, a lot of people don't really play Memnarch anymore, but Memnarch being able to just like pick and choose what you're stealing and just take other people's stuff is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of my favorite things.
Essentially, tap Liquid Metal Coating, pay, I believe it's 3 or 4 mana.
Yeah.
I think it's 3 mana and a blue, and then you gain control of target artifact.
4 to cast,
That's
steal
sweet.
artifact becomes steal permanent. Treasure Thief, same thing. there's a lot of options, a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Mhm.
totally.
Very janky.
Cool.
That's on
Nice
to
one,
you,
Spencer.
John.
It's good. All right.
What did you
So
bring?
my favoriteest artifact right now. I love artifacts because you can play them in any color if you want to. So that just makes sense to me from a kind of utilitarian standpoint, right? Getting artifacts you can play in whatever deck, whatever color you want. So this one is my favorite right now. It's Mystic Forge. Okay, so for those of you who aren't familiar, Mystic Forge is a 4-to-cast artifact from M20. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast the top card of your library if it's an artifact card or a colorless non-land card. You can also, there's another activated ability that says tap it, pay 1 life, exile the top card of your library. So, I really like the ability to be able to look at the top card of my library and potentially to cast it. Especially when you're playing artifacts. So this goes great in my Master Thopterus deck. It's part of the win con with Sensei's Divining Top and mana cost or cost reduction for my artifacts. So essentially what you do is you have Mystic Forge out, you have something that reduces the cost of Sensei's Divine or all my artifacts and Sensei's Divining Top. You tap the top to draw a card, the top goes on top of the library, and then you can cast it for free. And repeat.
Build up a storm count.
Build up a storm count, and then you cast an Aetherflux Reservoir and keep casting things. It's great. We have a good time when we're doing that.
We do not.
Draw your library.
Oh my gosh.
Actually.
Yeah, that's
Draw
an
your
I
library,
statement.
That's a nice statement. I have a great time playing alone.
You also, when size out, you get infinite Thopters. Well, not infinite, deck-sized Thopters, which is nice.
Always good.
And you can sacrifice them for things. So fun. The other deck that I really like it in right now is Kadena Slinking Sorcerer. So, for those of you who aren't familiar, Kadena Slinking Sorcerer is the Morph Commander from C19. And you can, so essentially there's going to be a lot of Morph cards in your deck. And you can actually cast Morph cards from the top of your library. You can cast them face down with Mystic Forge's ability. Which is really awesome in a kind of in a morph deck where the morph ability isn't super powerful, but if you can, if you couple that up with Flash and Kadena's ability to like make you or allow you to cast Morphes for free, essentially, it's really good
Morphes.
value.
So you double that ability, so you can keep playing more and more off the top of your library.
Yeah,
that's how you get such crazy boards with that deck.
Yeah,
I'm actually gonna...
So yeah, it's definitely more situational than some of these other cards. Some of these other cards I think are more powerful in their own rights, but I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I really like the tech of being able to cast morph cards off the top of your library.
I'm gonna say something controversial. I think Mystic Forge should have been 6 mana.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's probably a little bit undercosted. I think probably 5 would be realistic.
Yeah.
I don't think 4 is like overpowered, but yeah.
I feel like
you would expect it to be 5.
At 5, it completely replaces both Magus of the Future as well as Future Sight. Whereas at 6, it becomes a color agnostic version of it. Plus, it's better because it has a secondary ability to pay 1 life and remove off the top.
Yeah. But if you think about it, it's a little more limited than Elsha. Elsha you can use as the commander, and you have to pay more colors for it, but it's much less limited than Mystic Forge is. Mystic Forge allows you to have that extra little it's not quite what I need right now. I'm going to try exiling the top of your my library. Yeah, I could see that, but I think it's fairly costed. Maybe if they tacked on or made the ability slightly different and made 6 to cast, I think that would be
but I mean, if it's an awesome card, it's awesome probably for that reason as well. So
it's definitely it's not balanced for commander though at the end of the day, which I think is fine. Like I think it's a great commander card and I play it, I like it. It's clearly balanced for standard because it exists in the same standard environment as actually another card, 6 to cast, 3 of it is black, Bolas' Citadel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
card.
So I
Great
think
card.
that's why they did it, which is a very good idea at the end of the day. So my controversial statement, a little bit of playing
Hot-
devil's
hot
advocate
take, man, hot
on the
take.
cost, but I think
Well,
it is a fantastic card, and I do love it.
I'm going to. I think we should go. Should we go reverse order or same order for our least favorite?
Just keep going same order, so you don't have to keep
All right.
talking, and then
All right. So call. I like it. I like talking.
we don't.
I'm inside your ears. Call. Sorry if that was really crazy. Someone's just like running down the street. They're just like.
That's gonna be me soon.
Cardboard
Cardboard
event.
days.
I'm
Listening to Journey
never
to
listening
Nowhere.
to this podcast again.
I'm behind you. Colin, what's up? What's your least favorite artifact right now?
Well, I mean, least favorite. I went more for just terrible artifacts that I found. I found some. There's a lot of terrible artifacts. But let's go to a hilarious one called Aladdin's Ring. It's from 6th edition.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
So it's an 8 to
Old
cast
school.
artifact. 8 mana.
Ugh.
You drop it.
Ugh.
Then you can pay 8 mana and tap it, and it deals 4 damage to target creature or player. I don't know any like there's a lot of bad artifacts, but I'm like I could find somewhere for that. This, I don't think there's a place in hell.
There's no home for you.
There's no
Aladdin's
home
Ring.
for you, Aladdin's Ring. You are just terrible. I mean, there's so many bad ones.
Fair
like
enough.
I don't know. Here's another hilarious one. The Hive, again from 6th edition, costs 5, and then you pay 5 and tap it, and you put a 1/1 Wasp artifact creature token into play. That creature has flying.
Oh man, I remember having one of those.
I mean-
and I think he was really cool, and then
Terrible.
realizing whenever I was trying to like make a deck that's just awful.
Pretty sure I used to run that like way back.
Yeah, right.
Back then, it's like I'm never even going to have 5 mana.
Yeah, you're never going to, and if you do, well, you're not doing anything for the rest of the turn. So I hope you enjoy that 1/1. I just thought those are funny. I mean, I think there's so many bad
Yeah.
artifacts you could choose from, but I feel like they all
Oh,
have a
yeah.
home. But those ones,
That's
no
that's
way.
funny. Oh my gosh.
That's great. You did a little scour there.
I did a scour.
Nice.
Mhm.
All right, cool. Well, thanks, Colin. Let's.
You're welcome.
Awful,
Oh, yeah.
awful cards. So let's move on to Lucas, who
Yep.
has a least favorite artifact.
So, you know what I'm going to go with for these? And it's, okay, it is a little bit of a general statement, but it's just a lot of the golems, like a lot of just the basic artifact creature golems are just like, it's similar to what you're saying. It's like you are paying, like, who would use them? Like, why? It's
There
like,
was a time, I think, but now there is.
if you're
You're
paying
like,
like
Yeah.
5 mana for
Golem.
like a 3/3 that's all flavor text, like it, like it, you know,
Yeah.
The Flavor
it just-
Wars, you know.
like it. Honestly, and it's I've got a bunch of them stacked around like here in my collection. I should have pulled. I don't know why I didn't pull a couple of them out, but like opening in packs, and I'm just like, why does this exist? Like it just
At least it can
those-
attack and do something, but 16
Mhm.
mana to do 4 damage, that is that is shocking. That is shocking stuff.
so I've got a list.
So much better when you put it that way.
So I've got like a list of them here. I'm just trying to like pick one just for the heck of it. Okay, but like even this guy, Hexplate Golem, 7 for a 5/7 artifact creature golem, all flavor text. And like there's a bunch of cards that are like this. It's like,
Artifact creature,
Like,
though,
what-
he could get benefits.
well, right,
You know,
well that's
you
what
could-
I'm
you could do
thinking. It's like,
something with
okay,
that.
so I'm getting an artifact. I'm getting an artifact creature. But for like 7 mana, like what else could like you can cast so much more stuff and with like get 7 mana's value worth just to be getting an artifact or an artifact creature. Like that's
Yeah,
mine.
it's
You know,
not
I've
great.
been no, and it's like, and I've got a, you know, for anybody who follows our social media, we do pack openings every Friday, and I've got a box of M20 that I've been rocking through. And a lot of the times through those packs, I'm always finding some random generic golem. And I'm like, get out of my pack. Like,
Get outta here,
no.
Golem.
Like, what? No, I didn't want to pay for this. I don't want to open this. Like, they seem to be like the bane of my existence. They just keep coming.
Man, there was a
Just
time.
Shoot golems, don't bother me.
There was a time when 7 for a 5/7 would have been like, yeah, that's pretty good. And
Yeah.
those
tight.
those times are a decade, maybe 2 past.
Oh,
How about-
long gone.
How
Maybe a
about
little
10,
longer.
10 mana for a 1/1 wasp?
Yeah. How do you feel about that? That back then had to have been terrible too. That's what I'm trying to. Because the
Like, it
golems I
just-
could see, okay, fine, maybe back then, and they were exciting because they were artifacts. But I mean, what was it? 16 mana for 4 damage. I mean, that can't be good. It can't be good.
I actually had a golem sub theme in my Brago deck at one point.
What?
So it'd be things like Master Splicer, like the Splicers,
Precursor.
and Precursor Golem, so things you can blink and get golems onto the field. And
Okay,
so I would
yeah.
just do my blinky things to get infinite golems, but it wasn't even getting infinite golems. Someone's just like, board wipe, you can't attack with them this turn because you're playing in Azorius colors.
I found a golem, and this is from Toby in our comment section. Blightsteel
nice.
Colossus. That's a golem.
The Marshmallow Man
The
himself.
Marshmallow Man himself. Boom,
And
boom, boom.
Darksteel
Not a
Colossus,
golem.
I believe.
He is a golem, my
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah, but those are awesome ones. I'm not saying golems is a blanket statement. It's that handful
that-
of those
yeah.
generic overpriced
You-
ones that don't do anything else.
All I can hear is your
Lucas,
hatred
you-
of golems. That's all I
You
can hear.
literally started your thing by saying that you generally disliked golems.
I did?
Boom.
Yeah, you're like, you know what I hate in general? Or something like that. I don't know. Anyway.
Golems.
It's I get it. Listen, I get it. You
Yeah,
don't
that's
like
what I
all the
was trying to
golems.
say. I was trying to be more
All right.
specific to those
right.
ones. Those like generic, no ability, overpriced ones. Because
Yeah.
there are. That's what I was trying to say. That's what I was going
Mhm.
for. So my bad.
You know
I
what?
respect
Just
it. I
checking.
respect it.
All right. Well, you know what? Go ahead, Spencer.
And Karn doesn't get enough love these days, so I totally am
Yeah.
on board. Golems, bring them back. They used to be actually like, they had a good middle ground, and that middle ground is gone, man.
Yeah, man. Bring the golems
Yeah.
back, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you can't golem, join them. Let's move on to Spencer.
Oh god.
All right.
Because,
I'm-
we've just been stewing on that one for a while. Ugh,
I could tell
okay.
you were trying
Spencer, what's your?
I'm
I was
g-
gonna actually
yeah.
say Golem. I barely know him, but this was more like a Ron McClane type segue.
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Okay, so yeah, Spencer, let's hear about your least favorite artifact.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go a little cliche with it, and also focus on like, rather than just like stuff that is so janky it isn't, it's just bad. I instead want to talk about like, what is bad in the format? Like, what do people just don't want to see hit the board in a casual game of EDH? And I think there's an obvious number one. A
Bolas
real...
Citadel.
Oh no, this
I'm
is
sorry.
worse.
Take that back.
Sorry, what was it? Go.
That's totally, yeah. Winter Orb.
Yep. Hey, Spencer, do you play that in a deck?
Let's not talk about that.
Yes, yes, you do. Are you the worst? Yes.
Yeah.
Do as Spencer says, not as he does.
So yeah. So
Oh.
just to give a quick read off of Winter Orb here. Oops, I opened up the wrong thing.
I think it's like
Is that
you
the
pay
flavor
2
text?
and then you are a complete ass
Thank you. Yes.
for
I think,
at least
that's
a month.
the text.
You
I
are
think
an
that's what it
ass.
says.
Yep.
So two to cast artifact, as long as Winter Orb is untapped, players can't untap more than one land during their untap steps. One land.
So
That is
annoying.
pretty
Oh,
mean.
it's like,
It's
Oh, I'm
smoke
gonna get
for
you
lands.
untap pass.
And
When I
and
get
and it
untapped,
has the stipulation that it has to be untapped for this, which means in decks like Urza in CEDH, it's fantastic. And I totally understand its space there. I think it's a great card in that scenario.
Mhm.
But if you're not playing competitive EDH, and if you're not willing or looking to play up against a stacks build, then you know that this is the staple stacks card and you don't want to deal with it. There are only 2 decks I own that I run this card in, and that is because one of them is a competitive EDH deck, and the other one is almost competitive and definitely more designed to, like, it's one card. There's no other stacks cards in that deck. So it's I think that this is a card that people don't want to play against unless they know it's in there, unless you know you trust the people you're playing with, and if you're playing particularly as well, if you're playing competitive. Outside of that, let's not see this thing.
Yeah, you gotta go to your favorite local game store, and you're like, "Hey guys, nice to meet you. Hey, you can't play Magic, dummy."
Winter Orb.
Winter Orb.
So you guys want to like play again, or
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure, buddy.
The chat has comparable hate for stacks play. Alternatively, if you find yourself just being inundated with invites to play and you don't know how to say no to those, just build a deck. Maybe that's all Winter Orbs.
Just build a stack.
Just Winter Orbs.
Yeah, if you have too
Winter
many
Orb is your
friends and
commander.
you want to lose some friends, like, yeah, build stacks. Like,
Do you know what you should do instead
Winter
of
Orbs
putting a
and
Winter
lands.
Orb in there? Ramp. That's it.
That was
Cast ramp.
quite peaky.
Gosh,
Ramp,
man.
yeah. Just put some extra ramp in it.
ramp.
oh god,
Cheeky peeky.
yeah,
sound.
good
Sorry-
pick.
sorry,
everyone.
That's awful. Very
Little
good pick.
Yeah. I kind of went along the same line, but it's actually a little more personal for me. So my least favorite artifact card is Bolas' Citadel.
Yes,
That's right.
my man. It was funny.
And
I
that's
was
how
gonna
good it
say
is.
it.
It's-
I'm really glad you did because I was thinking about
I
it.
should have predicted that Colin would say Bolas' Citadel is his favorite.
Yeah,
Maybe this is a bit too much of Bolas' Citadel, but maybe it'll allow us to just move on. Bolas' Citadel has been very, very mean to me. Don't like it.
Oh,
very mean to me.
Whenever somebody else plays Bolas' Citadel, they immediately just go crazy and take over the game, if not win it that turn. Whenever I play Bolas' Citadel, I, hit some 2 to cast sorcery and then hit a land.
Land.
I'm like,
oh,
well,
it's the
okay,
worst.
let's wait till next turn. And then I hit something else that's crappy. Maybe I'm just not building good decks. I don't know.
oh.
So John, you want
But
to
it's
use
been
it,
very...
and you do,
I want
but
to
you
use
just
it,
suck. So you hate it.
Yeah.
I can't get it to work.
It's so stupid.
So-
Why you so mean to
So
me?
since nobody ever mentioned
wait.
Bolas' Citadel before John mentioned it right now, let's talk about how horrible this card is.
Yeah, no, I think we've done Bolas' Citadel. I
Yeah.
just want to say, it is very powerful, and that's part of the reason why it sucks to be snubbed by Bolas' Citadel and spanked by it.
It's almost
Whatever you wanna
thematic.
Hello, John. I'm Bolas' Citadel. I'm sorry
I
I
would-
was so mean to you.
we could do like a role playing kind
See?
of reconciliation.
This is my
I
face.
would,
That's nice, Bolas'
I would
Citadel.
love if Bolas' Citadel actually sounded like that.
Hi, John.
That's hilarious.
How are you?
John. How's it going?
I'm gonna kill you. you loser.
Bolas' Citadel.
What if
Yeah,
that's why
right.
Nicol Bolas is always angry?
Always.
That's all it is.
I'm here to seal your doom.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Nobody takes him
It's
seriously.
like Goofy, isn't
Here
it?
to kill you. So we had a comment, saying Citadel is like a really good way to kill people in a mono black deck,
Amen.
or any deck really. I mean,
Grey Merchant of Asphodel.
if you have good cards that you want
Oh.
to cast from the top of your library, Bolas' Citadel might be for you.
So
Okay, I think we should move on, my
You know what
friends,
though?
because
Yeah.
No. Sorry, guys.
We've been
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about
Sorry,
the
we gotta-
artifacts.
You
What?
just
What?
okay. Let
Yeah.
it go.
Okay,
Can we
come
let's
on.
talk
Let
about
Bolas'
John? John
Citadel
obviously
go.
has some sort of trauma from his Bolas' Citadel run-ins as a youth. Let's address it. Let's talk about it. Let's get it out on the table.
Until very recently, I was a youth, and then I kind
as a youth.
of went through like a big situation.
Yeah.
I
Right.
went to a genie.
I think Toby has some excellent advice for you from the chat. He recommends that you play more reactively, John.
Oh.
Um,
Oh. You got snapped upon, son.
That is. Hey, you know what? That is definitely something that I can work on. Thanks. Yeah, no, that's something that's like that's so like important in Commander, and I find it so easy to just get sucked into doing your thing and putting all the cards into synergizing with that, or like working towards that. But yeah, totally, that interaction, removal, that kind of stuff, very, very powerful.
Absolutely.
Especially when you can repeat it over and over again. Like,
value engines
I did
are just so tempting.
when I was wrecking you guys on Friday.
Didn't win.
That's right.
You didn't win the game.
Who
Didn't win.
Wait, yeah, who
Didn't win.
who won that one?
Didn't win the game. So.
Yeah.
I'll put your
I
board
think-
state up so people can see.
I think it was my
your
game to
shame.
lose.
Yeah.
Based on my board state, but I lost. Yes.
But that's the
definitely.
worst, though, when it's your game
and
to
Lucas
lose and
was
you
the champion.
lose. You know? Congratulations, Lucas. Good kill, Spencer. but
Thank you.
I died.
Yeah.
early.
Yep, 100%. Yep, a lot of good work.
Mhm.
It ain't over till it's over. But yeah, I agree.
Mystic Forge
Let's-
did work in that game.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
we're gonna move on, friends.
Mhm.
If you want more of the artifacts, too bad. Let's move on. Okay, so we're talking about the rules change. That's just happened. So of course, the rules committee has just changed the rule for when commanders go to the command zone after being killed.
They get clapped up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And they get
Okay,
clapped up.
so somebody more
All right, check. I got
up
this.
to date on the
When
actual
they get clapped
wording
up,
of
right?
this.
So they you know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? Like, and then they're gonna go to the command zone. And usually
Yeah.
they wouldn't trigger death triggers like going to the graveyard triggers, but now they do.
Right.
Right?
Perfect.
Now they do.
Yep. On a basic
in
level,
peace.
yeah, that's what it is.
Rest
Right.
in peace.
So, Alenda, the Dusk Rose went. That's my maybe she's
That's
like a
the
rocket
only
ship
one that I
sound.
know that's gonna go.
It we'll have different sounds for increasing in value. She's going up in value because when she dies, she creates tokens, and that is something that is good for an Orzhov deck.
Yes.
I think she does other stuff too. Let me look into this. Okay, so what are some of the other cards that people have been talking about? Other commanders.
Ooh, I got two big ones
All right, let's hear
I
it.
want to talk about with that. So first, super happy about it. Back again to my Crash the Blood Braided deck.
I was wondering
That was
about
kind of the
that.
main. Those were the
Oh,
cards that I had
true.
looked at. Crash is ecstatic about this happening, right? Because before, whenever I would kill off people's commanders, which in general you want to do, he wouldn't get the counters for him,
Oh,
right?
Yeah, good
So
point.
I'd be
Oh,
doing
right,
the
and with
commander,
Ozolith,
right?
Oh my
right?
God.
So
callback.
I am so stoked for that card and that deck for that reason, because now I can keep focusing on commander removal and get counters out of it. So that for this card is huge.
That is
So
huge.
right. So I'm intrigued to
Mhm.
see if there is a price change in that, because I don't know how popular he is. I have the only Crash deck that I know. I've never played against another one. But so that is massive for that card. So for that,
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
super excited about that. And then the other that also did skyrocket up in value that I wanted to mention is Child of Alara.
Oh, that's
Right?
a stupid thing.
Whenever it dies, destroy all non-land permanents. Right?
Mhm.
So that went, it was like $3 to $15, like overnight, just
Yeah.
happened. So with cards like that, so I mean, first is I'm wondering, are we going to see that banned now? Is that going to find its way to a ban list? Because if you do that, same thing. It's like, hey, welcome to the table. You can't play Magic. Like, that's going to happen. Like, what else would it do?
I think it was
Right?
already like there's a social ban on it. Like already that deck
Yeah.
was, oh God, you hate us playing. And now it's
I-
going to be worse. They're not
Before
going
we-
to
Oh, yeah.
Before we started Cardboard Command, I know you all here remember I went through a bit of a board wipe phase that definitely existed.
No, real? I'm trying to.
And
It's like 10
during
years or
it,
something, yeah.
I did consider building a Child of Alara deck and abandoned the idea because I realized it's not going to be fun. And it's around the time that I stopped putting as many board wipes into my decks. And I think it sort of, I think it breaks the social rule. I'm wondering if we're going to see the banning too. I
Mhm.
kind
Yeah.
of think we will if it sees
Yeah.
a lot of play.
So that's the other big one. So those are the commanders that I brought to the table over this rule.
Yeah, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Some other ones that we had that people have talked about these. We can like get into them a bit, but I don't think we have to be the source of information.
Number one
here.
source.
Well, I mean, why else do people come?
Your
here?
number one source. Yeah, tune in to the 45 minutes of talk about artifact preferences, and then you can get the information you need. So
What
we
you
have
been waiting
Rolesque.
for?
Rolesque is also known as Rolex.
Okay.
Is the Simic the Simic commander that when it dies, I believe you distribute some +1/+1 counters or something.
Double
people
proliferate.
Oh, double proliferate. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool, right? So before in Simic, very
Right.
hard to get that guy back onto the battlefield if you let it go to the graveyard. Now, maybe a little bit more viable.
Right. Great
That actually
call.
is huge. Yeah,
That's
actually
great
really
because
good.
I remember I played against one of those not too long ago, and that's what I thought. I'm like, why? This is before that rule was in place. I'm like, why would you play this? That is so much work
Yeah.
to try to get proliferates out of. Excellent
Yeah.
point.
The person's
That
laughing
is
at
a-
you
better.
now.
Yeah.
You're like,
Oh,
haha.
100%. Right?
I knew Rolexes were good.
Right? Put a bunch of planeswalkers in there. Ugh.
Yeah.
Right? Proliferate all
Um,
their loyalty counters. Poof.
Oh yeah.
Yo, yeah.
Proliferate's great. Love Proliferate.
So great call, John. That's an excellent one.
Probably still better in an Atraxa deck as part of the 99. Because if you're gonna play Proliferate,
I think it leans more towards combo stuff. Whereas
Yeah,
Atraxa is
Simic.
like amazing for Super Friends. You're building a lot of planeswalkers in there, and you can do that with Rolesque. Rolesque is really good if you're cloning, and that deck already was a thing before this rule change. It just made it better, and there's a similar thing with that with actually one of my favorite all-time commanders, Kaiga the Tide Star.
Hey, good
Kaiga.
point.
Little
Yeah, I was just gonna
stronger.
get into the Dragos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you have Kaiga, Rusi, Kakusho, Yosi, and the green one no one cares about.
That one.
Ow.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
I'm just telling it like it is.
Those dragons are amazing.
Yeah. To be fair, like I think +1/+1 counters in green it's pretty like fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for budgets for sure.
Budget.
Yeah. I'm a fan.
But yeah, so tell us about Kaiga, the Tide Star.
Kaiga, when it dies, gain control of target creature. It's a 6 cast 5/5 legendary creature, dragon spirit. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And now that it actually taps the graveyard before going back to command zone, it means you don't have to rely on definitely having some sort of clone in your hand to make use of him. There was a game actually that we filmed. It is up on Cardboard Command. Check us out on YouTube. In that game, multiple turns I had a Kaiga on the field. What nobody knew is I had no way to use him.
Yeah.
And this resolves
You're playing
that.
mono blue. There's not a lot of creature recursion in mono blue.
Yeah, I actually had a Rite of Replication in my hand like Colin, but I didn't have the mana that he had, so I never got the chance.
Ain't I a stinker? Oh no.
But
Did we lose
yeah,
everybody?
like this changes that. Now I can
Oh, no.
build in sack outlets, things like that, and make use of himself, which is going to be sweet. Bring him back from the grave in really weird ways. It's hard to do in mono blue, but there's some artifacts that help out with that, and there's definitely an opportunity to make use of it now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. And then Kakusho and Yosi were Kakusho is the mono black dragon commander. You can do a lot of great stuff with that commander, in mono black already. But being able to have that option where it'll go eventually to the command zone again to recast it opens up some slots in your deck for some other stuff.
Mhm.
I don't know what that would be. I don't play
like less
Kakusho.
recursion. You wouldn't have to put as much recursion.
Yeah,
in.
you don't necessarily need quite as much recursion, so you can devote that to other things, like maybe getting benefits off of when the other people lose their life or when you gain the life.
Yeah.
Because Kakusho gains you life, right?
No, Kakusho
Yeah.
makes somebody skip
loses
their untaps. Well, it doesn't skip their untaps. It taps.
No, that's
5?
That's Yosi.
Oh, Yosi, right. Oh, Kokusho. Yeah, that's life loss for all the opponents. 5 life.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, being able to make your opponents lose 5 life again and again and again is just made a little bit easier now. And then Yossi the Morning Star is yeah. I mean, again, in mono white, you can recur that card with some difficulty. I don't know. I don't think it's a viable commander, but it definitely works with this commander.
Hmm.
And then the other big one actually that I thought was really cool that they've talked about is Skull Clamp.
Oh, Skull Clamp your commander.
So skull clamping your commander
Yep.
in the right situations can be quite good.
Nice.
That's going to be very
Skull
good.
Clamp's a good card. If we can
Oh.
cast our commander again and again and get benefits from casting it, and it's got low toughness, then that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that is a good question, Toby.
Yeah.
Does this rule interact with Leyline of the Void? Spencer, you did some more research than the rest of us, I think. Any comments on that?
Yeah, so I know that was like a big question that was floating around the community up until about yesterday when everything really came together. Oh, I think it was yesterday where everything came together. And well, what it seems is the big change is we already knew it wasn't a triggered ability. It was a replacement effect. Now it is a kind of state-based effect that doesn't replace it hitting the graveyard. It just is a state-based effect upon hitting the graveyard. So what that looks like is a commander is killed on the field. It dies. Before, when it would have gone to the graveyard, you can choose to put it to the command zone. Instead now, it taps the graveyard, and before anyone receives priority, the owner of it can move it to command zone. They have the choice.
Mm-hmm.
So Leyline of the Void still shuts down the graveyard, but because that this thing also happens on exile, in other words, it taps exile and then can be moved to the command zone, all that means is when Leyline of the Void is out, instead of tapping on the graveyard, it taps on exile. So graveyard triggers will not happen with your commander when Leyline of the Void or Rest in Peace are out.
Okay.
Yeah, this
interesting.
might be worth revisiting when we have a bit of a better understanding of the rules involved. Like, so essentially, when a commander hits the graveyard or hits exile, it does hit those places. It goes to those places, but then it immediately can go to the command zone.
Yeah.
I think I've heard that it's different when you go to kind of hidden zones, like the deck or the library or the hand.
Yeah, those are still
so
replacement.
Yeah, those are going to still be replacement effects. Okay, cool. So you're right up on it. Yeah, so interesting.
Big change.
Kind of
Big
rule
things
change.
popping.
Big change.
Big
Big
things popping
change.
in this.
Great stuff going on. There's great stuff going on in the world of Magic.
Mhm.
Hey.
Yep. Yep. And I just with
Cool.
it, because I know it looks like we're probably having a wrap up here. What I just wanted to say in general about the rule is I'm intrigued over the next couple of weeks because obviously there are so many commanders. I think people are going to find some really crazy broken stuff with this. I'm intrigued to see how it affects the game, what commanders come out of it. Do we see new bans? Do we see a rule change because people are going to get way out of hand with it? I mean, I just see the potential for this just to go nuts. I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks to seeing what happens.
There's already one, actually. I used to run it as a commander too. Marchesa, the Black Rose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So because of this change and because commanders tap on the graveyard, this has major effects. She's a 4-to-cast Grixis 3/3 human wizard, legendary, obviously, because she can be a commander. Dethrone. Whenever this creature attacks, the player with the most life or tied for the most life, put a +1/+1 counter on it. She gives other creatures dethrone as well. The reason that's a big deal is her ability reads, whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. So now, if you control somebody else's commander and attack with it, get dethroned, then it dies, it's coming back on your side of the field. They don't have the ability to command zone it to try and stop you. It's going to happen. That's the same thing
Is
with
that true?
Necromantic Selection, a 7 to cast, mono black, 3 black mana, sorcery board wipe, destroys all creatures, return one of the things that hit the graveyard to your side as a zombie. That's going to steal commanders.
Really?
It's going to be, yep, it's real interesting.
We'll have to look into that. 'Cause
Don't you
that's
have the
super
option
crazy.
to, when it hits because it'll hit your graveyard.
Yep.
Don't you have the option to put it to? Oh, I guess it depends on the wording, like we were talking about.
So it's no longer a replacement effect because it's not a replacement
Yeah.
effect, which would have kept it from hitting the graveyard.
oh,
since
it
it
dies,
does hit
and it's just the named card.
exactly.
I like that. That is fun because necromantic
like that at
Selection's
all.
it's a great card, but ooh, it's very expensive.
I don't like
so
things
that's
that-
terrifying.
The game is called Commander. I don't like things that don't allow you to cast your own commander. I don't like it.
Call out to Draneth Magistrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holla.
Big shout out to
Oh.
Draneth Magistrate. Yeah, Draneth
No.
Magistrate's much worse than that.
Not fun.
Hey, we got ice cream truck coming by.
I pulled one,
Ooh.
so I might
Great.
put that in a deck. You never know.
Oh,
Nice.
No, I won't.
God.
Stupid.
Thank
Also-
you. I was like, can you just not?
Nice. Okay, so I think it's probably a good time now. We're going to move to our cleanup step.
Clean up.
Yeah.
Spencer.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, we're gonna move to cleanup step. We're gonna wrap up the stream here. Thank you everyone for hanging out. It's been really awesome hanging out with you on chat. We see that we had a good number of people show up, and you've all been awesome. Always feel free to like throw your opinions. We'll always check them out in chat and sort of see which ones we're gonna bring into the podcast for the day. And we appreciate you hanging out with us. Yeah. Want to take it away?
It's so nice.
Yep. And if you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, got all of our live EDH gameplays on there. So some of the cards and decks we have talked about today, you can see them in action, as well as links in that are in our Twitch to our Discord server. Join that. Come on, hang out, meet some new Magic friends, talk about the game, get some pods going. It's a really good time. And of course, if you do love what we're putting out, please support us on Patreon. That's what helps us ensure that we can keep this content coming for you. And you can get a bunch of awesome perks with that too to get further connected with our Magic community.
Yeah, awesome. And of course, if you're listening to this on some kind of podcast directory, thank you. And we'd love it if you left us some feedback, left a review for us. We'd really appreciate it. It'll help us to, any feedback is good for us to grow the channel or the podcast journey to nowhere. And, as always, remember.
Keep on slanging, you suckers.
Oh, we did
Bolas
it.
Citadel. It's the best card ever.
Yeah. Boo.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Music for this episode was adapted from the song Wholesome by Kevin MacLeod. Further attribution information can be found in the episode description. If you want to support our channel, review, comment, or become a patron, you can also check out our EDH gameplay and other content on our YouTube channel.